Hi, my name is Alfred Griffin. I'm the CEO and founder of LightForce Orthodontics. Today, we're going to talk about custom orthodontic tooth moving tools. Start by giving you a little bit of background on me. So my grandfather was a pediatric dentist, and he had my dad assist him in clinic, and he decided to be an orthodontist. I did the same in my dad's practice and of course became an orthodontist too. Our dinner table conversations revolved around Invisalign adoption, the emergence of DSOs, and recently it's changed more towards the emerging technology in orthodontics that centers around a changing business model of clear aligners. We thought that it made a lot of sense to create a tech weapon that was for orthodontists by orthodontists, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The idea around LightForce was to create a platform for all tooth moving tools and take a new modern approach towards the software, the materials, and everything. Braces haven't changed much in 70 years, and we saw a big opportunity here. Braces today are a one-size-fits-all proposition, and we put them on by line of sight, and we can do a great job that way. It takes us some extra steps. The braces don't always match the anatomy of the teeth, which results in extra cement space, which can result in a not so great bond. We have to make some wire bends and reposition brackets. We can do a good job, again, but it just takes us those extra steps. So the ideal scenario for us would be to have a true straight wire appliance with a true custom base. That doesn't exist today. We're 3D printing braces. So the custom base is not made of cement, it's actually a part of the bracket. And what that enables is things like what I'm showing you up here. So in the top right, you can see we can move tooth vertically up or down without compromising the torque. That's super important when we consider things like smile arc, anterior coupling, class 2 and 3 situations where you want to control the vertical and control torque as well. Also, you see on the lower left, we can control the arch plane as well. So if you're hitting a lower bracket, we can drop the arch plane so that you're not hitting and not occluding. Or if you want to be closer to the center of resistance of the tooth, you can be closer to the center of resistance as well. Other things like moving the bracket mesially or distally off of the FA point on the tooth. Super valuable for avoiding contacts on the brackets, but also for blocked out teeth, as we'll show you. Philosophically, with this approach, we want to start with the end in mind. We don't care what the prescription of the bracket is, we care what the prescription of the tooth is. So a bit of a deviation from what we've done in the past. It's more similar to a clear aligner workflow where the tooth moving tool is designed around vectors of force that we decide based on where the teeth are on the computer screen. This is the technology that powers it. So we took a modern approach towards the software, looking at different frameworks that are used today in modern tech and applying them to a CAD tool that we can use to set up teeth. This lives on the browser tab. There's nothing to ever download, and it lives in the cloud. So definitely unique in this space. We also spent a lot of time in material development, trying to make a bracket that was more dense than current ceramic brackets, but using the same material, polycrystalline alumina, that's been used for the last 40 years. And so we're the first company that has made a bracket that is intended to be indirect bonding, and an indirect bonding tray that is perfectly designed around that bracket and that bracket alone versus a library of every bracket to exist. That makes the fit much better and much more accurate as well. And then we had to work on scaling this. So we had to make this many times for many people. 3D printing is a great tool for brackets. Forget the customization for a second. Just looking at the slot alone, injection molded brackets by nature are oversized and divergent so that they can be ejected from the mold. We've studied this for decades. A lot of residency research is focused on this, and we've seen the same thing consistently. We just haven't done anything about it. With 3D printing, you print in layers, and maybe you get some roughness for round areas, but if you're trying to make a rectangle, man, it's the perfect technology for that. And so we have the most accurate slot on the market. What that means is that what you put in, you also get out. And in this case is a great example of this. So this case, we decided to extract a lower incisor versus proclining and IPRing, put a reverse curve into the bracket position, and we tip the roots into the extraction space. As you can see here, this is the pan. This is the initial in the top left. The initial, then 3 months into closing space, the crowns are tipping in. We finish in a steel wire, 10 months of treatment, 3 wires per arch. You can see we actually overcorrected in the extraction space a little bit, but then 3 months into retention, you can see that the teeth relapsed predictably in a parallel fashion. So then going to the Ceph, you can see the initial on the left with 4 lower incisors. We, again, proclined the lower incisors and retroclined the uppers a little bit and nailed the anterior coupling and the overbite and corrected the overjet as well with 1 less lower tooth, where normally stock braces would make the overjet worse. The other thing is that this case had some odd mamelon formation on the premolars, which is not uncommon. Normally we would get rocking or inaccuracies, but in this case, again, we take tooth anatomy as a variable out of the equation. So as you can see here, it's a perfect fit. The cement space between tooth and bracket is exactly consistent across the entire surface area. What we didn't have for that case that we have now are a feature we call turbo trays. So pre-designed indirect bonding trays that are meant to put a anterior bite turbo in the perfect place at the perfect position at the exact vertical position for that specific case. This is another way of avoiding contact on the lower teeth. Sometimes we can't drop the arch wire plane all the way down. You have bites that are just too deep, so that's why we would use a turbo tray like this. And it's exactly positioned such that we are 500 microns away from hitting a lower bracket. By 500 microns, this is a form meets function type of thing. So we know that the periodontal ligament space at its biggest in adolescence is about 300 microns. So even if that patient bangs down really hard, they're still not going to hit a lower bracket. And so something like this is, while it's a small feature, it adds tremendous convenience to cases like this. But another example of a tooth moving tool that when working in concert with the rest of the treatment plan can add a ton of value. Another reason we might not want to bond a bracket on FA point every time is if we have a blocked out tooth. Like in this case, we have a blocked out premolar. Normally in a case like this, we would bond a bracket on the distal part of the tooth, use a lower wire or small wire, bring it out, and then have to rebond that bracket on the FA point, probably drop another wire. That's going to cost us some appointments, at least 2 to 3, plus another bonding appointment. So with a fully customized system, you can put a bracket on the distal with an offset and go from A to Z in a direct path, as you see here, starting with the end in mind and avoiding round tripping in the process. So the process is very similar to what we do for clear aligners. We start with a down payment in the practice and take a scan, and then we see the patient back in 4 to 5 weeks for either their LightForce bonding or their clear aligner delivery. And what you get is a treatment plan for the doctor in 48 hours, and then you look at it, turn it around. You can either type feedback or you can move the teeth yourself, and that's turned around in 24 hours. And when you hit accept, the case is manufactured in 7 to 10 business days and ships in 2 to 3 day shipping. So you see the patient back in 2 to 3 weeks after you hit accept and bond the case. So it's a very similar workflow. Again, trying to meet the practice where it is today. So the value to the orthodontist is pretty simple. You want to sell more cases. You want to start more cases, and in many cases, you're at capacity, so you want to increase your capacity. LightForce, a fully custom system, allows you to do all of that. This also allows you to have a lower burden in your clinic for your staff. So we all know staff love it when they have to rebond a bracket, get out the bonding materials. That often turns a 15-minute appointment into a 30 or 45-minute appointment. Also, when you have to do wire bends or repos, those are never fun. So if we can cut out a lot of that inefficiency, we feel like we can make cases go much faster. The other part of this is that, as we know from the consultants today, that clinical efficiency results in more profitability per case, per visit. So patients, they want to be done faster. They also don't like things like having long bonding appointments with those cheek retractors in place for an hour and a half. So we can easily reduce the treatment time or the bonding time by half with an indirect bonding approach that's seamless. The other thing, today's consumers are also our patients that are shopping at Amazon, watching Netflix, and Smile Direct Club seems to appeal to them too. So the consumer and the patient are changing, and they don't want to see you 17 times. They value efficiency in their busy lifestyles. The other thing is that if we take a more direct path, we believe that there's a lower biological load. So the osteoclasts and blasts have to do less work. We can reduce things like hyalinization, root resorption, and take a more efficient biological path as well. And then the last thing is obviously faster treatment time, which is great for everybody. These are our customers, so we've been growing quite fast, as you can see. One thing we take a lot of pride in is working with orthodontists and allowing our early adopters to have a huge influence in the product development. And so we have a direct line to our customers. I wish we had February and January up here. It's been a really exciting time. Thanks so much. It's been a blast, and we'll have more videos like this coming out soon.